Every year, you make new goals. You promise yourself that this time will be different, that you will finally take action, stay consistent, and achieve what you've been delaying for so long. But somewhere between January and December, that focus disappears. Time slips away, and your goals remain unfinished. What if the problem was never your motivation, but the way you measure time? What if you could achieve more in 12 weeks than most people achieve in 12 months? Welcome to English Bookshelf. And this is the 12-week year, a system that can transform how you use your time, your focus, and your life. Imagine waking up on the first day of a new year, feeling motivated, full of energy, and ready to finally change your life. You make big plans. You set ambitious goals. You promise yourself that this year will be different. You say you will work harder, stay consistent, focus more, and finally achieve the things you have been delaying for years. But then, something happens. January feels exciting. February feels normal. March feels busy. And slowly, without realizing it, your focus starts to fade, your urgency disappears, and your goals begin to feel distant again. By the middle of the year, you are no longer chasing your goals. You are simply reacting to your daily routine. And by the end of the year, you look back and wonder, what happened? Where did all that motivation go? Why did I not achieve what I planned? If this has ever happened to you, then you are not alone. And this is exactly the problem that the 12-week year is designed to solve. Because the truth is not that you are lazy. The truth is not that you lack discipline. The truth is that the system you are using is broken. The traditional idea of a 12-month year creates a dangerous illusion. It gives you too much time. And when you believe you have a lot of time, you delay. You postpone. You wait for the right moment. You tell yourself you will start next month, next week, or tomorrow. And that is where most goals die. Not because of lack of ability, but because of lack of urgency. This is where Brian Moran introduces a powerful idea. What if instead of treating the year as 12 months, you treated it as 12 weeks? What if your year ended every 12 weeks? Suddenly, everything changes. Deadlines feel closer. Focus becomes sharper. Execution becomes faster. Because now, you don't have time to wait. You must act. And that is the core message of this book. It is not your goals that are the problem. It is your execution. Most people know what they want. Most people have dreams, ideas, and plans. But very few people execute consistently. Because execution requires clarity, discipline, focus, and accountability. And the 12-week year gives you a system to build all of that. The book begins by explaining that results do not come from ideas alone. Results come from actions. And actions must be repeated consistently over time to create real progress. But most people fall into the trap of focusing only on long-term goals. They say they want success, but they don't define what they need to do this week. They say they want to grow, but they don't track their daily actions. They say they want to change, but they don't build a system to support that change. And that is why they stay stuck. Because goals without execution are just wishes. The 12-week year flips this entire mindset. Instead of focusing on distant yearly goals, it forces you to focus on weekly actions that directly lead to results. It makes you ask a simple but powerful question. What must I do this week to move closer to my goal? And when you answer that question clearly, your mind becomes focused. Your energy becomes directed. Your actions become intentional. And suddenly, progress becomes visible. The book also introduces the idea that your life is not changed by what you do once in a while. It is changed by what you do consistently. Small actions, repeated every week, create massive transformation over time. But to achieve that, you need a system that keeps you accountable. You need a system that forces you to measure your progress. You need a system that does not allow you to hide from your own commitments. And that is exactly what the 12-week year provides. As your audience listens to this, they begin to realize something important. The reason they have not achieved their goals is not because they lack potential. It is because they have been working without a clear execution system. And now, for the first time, they are being introduced to a method that can completely change the way they approach their time, their work, and their life. And this is where the real journey begins. A journey from vague dreams to clear execution to real, measurable results. As the idea of turning a full year into just 12 weeks begins to settle into your mind, something powerful starts to happen. Your sense of time changes. You no longer feel like you have endless months ahead of you. And because of that, you stop postponing the important work, you stop waiting for the perfect moment, and you begin to act with a level of urgency that most people only feel when a real deadline is approaching. And this is exactly the shift that Brian Moran wants you to experience, because he explains that urgency is not stress, urgency is clarity in action. When time feels limited, your priorities become clear. You no longer waste hours on distractions that do not matter, you no longer delay the tasks that move your life forward, and you begin to focus only on the actions that truly create results. This is where the book introduces one of its most powerful ideas: clarity of vision. Because without a clear vision of what you want your life to look like, even the best execution system will not help you. You need to know where you are going. You need to know what kind of person you want to become. You need to know what success actually means to you. And this vision must not be vague, it must not be general, it must be specific, personal, and meaningful. Because when your vision is clear, your daily actions begin to align with it. The book explains that many people fail not because they lack ability, but because they lack a clear direction. And when you do not know exactly what you are working toward, it becomes very easy to get distracted by things that do not matter. But when your vision is strong, it becomes your filter. Every decision you make, every task you choose, every opportunity you consider is measured against your vision. Does this move me closer to the life I want, or further away? And this simple question can transform the way you use your time. After vision, the next step in the 12-week year system is planning. But this is not the kind of complicated planning that fills pages and pages of notebooks without real action. This is a simple, focused, execution-based plan. Instead of planning for an entire year, you plan for just 12 weeks. And within those 12 weeks, you define the few key goals that matter most. Not 10 goals, not 20 goals, just a small number of high-impact goals that truly move your life forward. Because focus is not about doing more things. It is about doing the right things consistently. And once your goals are defined, the system takes you to the most important part: weekly execution. The book makes it very clear that your success is not determined by what you plan to do. It is determined by what you actually do every week. And this is where most people fail. They plan, they dream, they set goals, but they do not track their actions. They do not measure their consistency. And without measurement, there is no accountability. So the 12-week year introduces something powerful: a weekly scorecard. Every week, you track the key actions that lead to your results. Not your feelings, not your intentions, your actions. Did you do what you said you would do? Did you complete the tasks that move you forward? Did you stay consistent with your commitments? And this weekly tracking creates a level of honesty that is uncomfortable, but incredibly powerful. Because you can no longer hide from yourself. You can no longer say, "I'm trying," when your actions show otherwise. And this is where real change begins. Because when you measure your actions every week, you become aware of your habits. And when you become aware of your habits, you gain the power to change them. The book explains that consistency is more important than intensity. It is not about working hard for 1 or 2 days and then losing focus. It is about showing up every week, doing the important work, and building momentum over time. And as your audience listens to this part, they begin to see something clearly. Success is not complicated. It is not about secret formulas or special talents. It is about clear goals, focused actions, and consistent execution. And the 12-week year is not just a productivity system. It is a way of thinking, a way of living, a way of taking control of your time, your focus, and your future. And now, the book prepares to take you even deeper into the habits, the discipline, and the mindset required to sustain this level of execution and create lasting transformation in your life. As the system of the 12-week year begins to take shape, Brian Moran now takes us into the most challenging and most important part of the journey, discipline and mindset. Because without the right mindset, even the best plan in the world will remain just a plan. He explains that success is not created in moments of inspiration, it is created in moments of consistency, in the quiet, often unnoticed moments when you choose to do what you said you would do, even when you don't feel like it, even when it is uncomfortable, even when no one is watching. This is what he calls the execution gap, the space between what you know you should do and what you actually do. And this gap is where most people lose. Because knowledge is not the problem. Most people already know what they need to do to improve their life. They know they need to work on their goals. They know they need to avoid distractions. They know they need to stay consistent. But knowing is not enough. The real challenge is doing it every single week. And that is where discipline comes in. Discipline is not something you are born with. It is something you build through repeated action. Every time you keep your commitment to yourself, your discipline becomes stronger. Every time you break your commitment, your discipline becomes weaker. And slowly, over time, these small choices shape your identity. You either become someone who follows through, or someone who makes excuses. The book introduces a powerful concept called keeping commitments. Not just commitments to others, but commitments to yourself. Because when you tell yourself that you will do something and then you don't do it, you slowly lose trust in yourself. And without self-trust, it becomes harder and harder to take action. But when you consistently keep your promises to yourself, your confidence grows, your self-respect increases, and your ability to execute becomes stronger. This is why the 12-week year focuses so much on weekly commitments, because it forces you to practice integrity with yourself. It forces you to become a person who does what they say they will do. The book also talks about the importance of intentional time use, because time is the most valuable resource you have, and most people waste it without realizing it. They react to emails. They scroll through social media. They jump from one task to another. And at the end of the day, they feel busy, but not productive. Moran explains that if you want to achieve meaningful results, you must learn to control your time instead of letting your time control you. This is why the system introduces the idea of time blocking. You schedule specific blocks of time dedicated only to your most important work. During this time, you remove distractions. You focus deeply. You execute the actions that move you closer to your goals. Because success requires focused effort, not scattered activity. The book also emphasizes the importance of accountability. When you work alone, it is easy to lose focus. It is easy to justify your excuses. But when you have accountability, everything changes. Because now, someone is aware of your commitments. Someone is aware of your progress. Someone is expecting you to follow through. And this creates a powerful pressure, not a negative pressure, but a positive one that pushes you to stay consistent. As your audience listens to this part, they begin to realize that the difference between where they are now and where they want to be is not a lack of ability. It is a lack of consistent execution. And that realization is powerful. Because it means their future is not controlled by luck, by talent, or by circumstances. It is controlled by their daily actions, their weekly commitments, their willingness to show up again and again. And slowly, they begin to see that the 12-week year is not just a system for productivity. It is a system for self-mastery. A system that trains you to control your focus, your time, and your actions. And now, the book prepares us for its final stage, where all of these ideas come together into one clear, powerful message about how to create extraordinary results in a short period of time and build a life of purpose and achievement. As everything you have heard begins to come together, the message of the 12-week year becomes clear in a way that is both simple and deeply powerful. Because this book is not just about productivity, it is about taking control of your life by taking control of your time, your focus, and your daily actions. You realize that the problem was never your potential. The problem was never your dreams. The problem was never your desire to succeed. The real problem was that you were living in a system that allowed you to delay, to postpone, and to lose focus. And now, for the first time, you have been given a system that removes that illusion of time and replaces it with clarity, urgency, and execution. Because when you stop thinking in years and start thinking in 12 weeks, everything changes. Your priorities become clear. Your distractions lose their power. Your actions become intentional. And you begin to understand something important. Success is not created in the future, it is created in the present moment through the actions you take every single week. Brian Moran reminds us that extraordinary results do not come from doing extraordinary things once, they come from doing ordinary things consistently with focus, discipline, and commitment. It is not about working harder for a few days and then losing momentum. It is about showing up week after week, executing your plan, tracking your actions, and making small improvements over time. Because those small improvements, when repeated consistently, create massive transformation. As your audience listens to this final part, they begin to feel something powerful. A sense of control, a sense of possibility, a sense that their goals are not as far away as they once believed. Because now, instead of thinking about the entire year, they are thinking about the next week, the next set of actions, the next step forward. And suddenly, their goals feel closer, more achievable, more real. The book leaves us with a simple but life-changing question. What could you achieve in the next 12 weeks if you focused completely on execution? Not someday, not next year, but in the next 12 weeks. What if you gave your full attention to your most important goal? What if you removed distractions? What if you kept your commitments to yourself? What if you tracked your progress honestly every single week? The answer is powerful. You could achieve more in 12 weeks than you have achieved in the last 12 months. And this is not just motivation. This is a system that has been tested, a system that has worked for thousands of people, a system that can work for you. But only if you use it. Because the final truth of the book is this: no system, no plan, no idea can change your life unless you take action. You must decide to begin. You must decide to commit. You must decide to execute. And when you do that, something incredible happens. You stop waiting for the perfect moment. You stop making excuses. You stop delaying your dreams. And you start building your future, one week at a time. As the video comes to an end, your audience is left with one powerful realization. They do not need more time. They need better focus, better execution, and a better system. Because when you control your weeks, you control your months. And when you control your months, you control your life. And that is the true power of the 12-week year. In the end, success is not about having more time. It is about using your time with intention. When you focus your energy, commit to your actions, and execute week after week, you begin to create results that once felt impossible. If you found value in this journey, subscribe to English Bookshelf for more powerful book insights. Because when you take control of your weeks, you take control of your life.